Bitcoin is an asset class. And that's a major revolution. If Fidelity and BlackRock and if 10 other ETF issuers all agree that Bitcoin is an asset class, right, it should be 10x to 100x bigger than it is right.
Crypto family, welcome back to the channel. Aaron here from the Bitcoin Bros coming back at you with another video. You just saw in that clip right there, that was Michael Saylor talking about Bitcoin could potentially 10x to 100x from here. That's anywhere from $250K to $2.5 million. Let me know in the comment section below. Do you agree with Michael Saylor? Do you think Bitcoin's price is going that high? Let me know, guys. But in today's video, we're going to be getting into some recent Bitcoin news. And we're going to be looking at some technical analysis, some big indicators for Bitcoin right now. So make sure to stay tuned till the end of the video. Let's go ahead and jump into it here. And before I get into today's post, shouts out to Mags on Twitter. He has some really good Bitcoin technical analysis. And I thought this chart that he showed right here was pretty good find. So he's going to be talking about the MACD here. He says a strong MACD bullish cross occurs when it crosses below the zero line. In 2016, the MACD crossed bullish below the zero line for the first time ever, which triggered a bull run. Currently in 2023, the MACD crossed bullish below the zero line for the second time. Bitcoin is currently trading at 26,800. Remember, while MACD signals long-term trend changes, short-term fluctuations are normal. Prices might move sideways or even slightly lower on the LTF before the bull run begins. So basically check this out. Back in 2016, we had this bullish cross of the MACD in the signal line. You can see the blue line here crossed over the red line here, and we got extremely bullish. And it also calls the top. When you have the blue line coming back down underneath that red line, that is a bearish signal, and Bitcoin sold off after that. You saw the same thing back here in 2021 when the blue line went back underneath the red line. We got very bearish for a very long time. Now here in 2023, we're seeing the exact same thing that we saw back in 2016 when we had this bullish cross. We're having another bullish cross. So we could see Bitcoin start to rally here going into 2024 and into 2025 potentially. So that is something to pay attention to. A pretty good find there from Max. And then another post here from Max. He says, each Bitcoin bear market offers two legendary buying opportunities. The first buying opportunity arises approximately 500 days before the halving. So you can see right here, this is around 500 days before the halving back in 2015. Great buy indicator there. You can see back here in 2019, we had that 500 days before the halving, and that was a pretty good time to buy. Same thing here. That was back in 2022 when everything was selling off. Bitcoin went down to around $17,000. We had that buy indicator around the 500 days before the halving event there. So we can see right now we are in that buy to box, which is around 180 days before the halving. So that is actually the second best buy indicator historically for Bitcoin. So right now might be a great time to pick up some cheap Bitcoin. And another thing to think about right now is if you look at the Google Trends for Bitcoin, we're currently sitting at around 12. Nobody is talking about Bitcoin right now. I mean, if you just go back here to 2019 when Bitcoin was trading at a very low price, we're at those same levels of engagement on Google. So there's not a lot of hype around Bitcoin right now. People aren't thinking about it. It may be one of the best times to pick up some Bitcoin before we have a potential blast off in 2024 and 2025. And then to get into some other news here, as of October 6th, Bitcoin funds surged by 246 million year to date, while Ethereum funds saw a $104 million decline. Investors anticipate a spot Bitcoin ETF approval, which could attract 600 billion. Meanwhile, the ETH ETF has struggled to gain much traction since its launch. So something to think about here is when we get this Bitcoin spot ETF, are the altcoins going to come up with BTC, or is BTC going to leave the altcoins behind? We've seen people like Kathy Wood say that Ethereum will outperform Bitcoin in the next bull run. And it's not hard for Ethereum or some of these altcoins to outperform Bitcoin if they're going up because their market caps aren't as high. But we could potentially see a Bitcoin-only bull run. That is something that is definitely on the table. I want to know what you guys think about that, because the spot Bitcoin ETF could create an environment where Bitcoin is really the only thing that is pumping potential 10, 20x during the next bull run. But let me know what you guys think about that. Is it possible for us to see a Bitcoin only bull run? Or if Bitcoin is going up, will it just ultimately bring the rest of crypto up along with it? Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments. And then some news about the SEC and the Bitcoin ETF. The SEC has decided not to appeal Grayscale's court victory in the battle to convert its trust into a Bitcoin ETF. The SEC will now have to approve Grayscale's Bitcoin ETF bid if it can't find new reasons to delay or deny. So there was a deadline that just passed on Friday, October 13th. It was the last day for the SEC to appeal the Grayscale's victory in court of them changing their trust into an ETF. And they actually won that in court. So the SEC decided not to appeal that. They still have some time to do some other things, but it is a good sign for the Bitcoin ETF going forward that we could potentially still get that Bitcoin ETF approved later this year or into early next year. And this is an update from Joe Carlsari. He says lots of misinformation out there about the next key dates for the BlackRock Bitcoin Spot ETF. Here's a summary. On 9/28, the SEC invited the public to provide feedback on the application. Anyone wishing to submit a comment could. Following that, if someone wants to reply to another person's comment, they have up until November 8th. So they had to get those in on October 25th, and they have up until November 8th to reply to any comments. The SEC does not typically approve rule changes or similar proposals until the comment request period is completed. This comment period is an essential part of the regulatory process. Usually after that period ends, there's another 1 to 2 months reserved for comment review. Therefore, if a spot ETF gets the green light in 2023, it probably won't be from BlackRock. So a lot of the data, a lot of what the experts are saying out there is we're probably not going to see that Bitcoin spot ETF until 2024. And that's perfectly fine for me. We as Bitcoiners should continue to dollar cost average and continue to hodl more and more Bitcoin, take it off of the exchanges, put it in cold storage, buy Bitcoin at cheap prices before the institutions get involved, because it does seem like a lot of these institutions like BlackRock, Fidelity, ARK Invest are going to come in and try to gobble up a lot of this Bitcoin so they can make money off of trading it. So let me know what you guys think about that. When do you think the Bitcoin spot ETF is coming? It does seem like we'll see one in early 2024. And I want to leave you guys with another clip from Michael Saylor to end the video. Make sure to leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit that like button if you found any value. Subscribe. We have new videos coming out every single day. Let's go ahead and check out this.
My point here is every one of you knows someone. Go tell a CEO, go tell your father, go tell your mother, go tell somebody that Bitcoin's going to change the world and they should figure out more about it, because the number one thing you can do is educate the world on Bitcoin and let people know they need to figure out Bitcoin. And every one of you does make a difference, because I would never get those meetings if it wasn't like someone that went and said, you got to pay attention. And my last point to you, you do not sell your Bitcoin.